as I shared earlier on, right, nothing Partnership Leaders does is without our members' approval or without a partner. And so it was fitting that when we wanted to throw this big event, that we actually searched for a partner. And I'm thankful and really, really grateful to Reveal, who actually stepped up to join us in putting this event together. And so I would love to invite Simon, their CEO, and Wright, their VP of Sales, to come and share the good word of Reveal, because we, and even myself personally, want to know a little bit about what the company is and what they're doing. So Simon, Joe, welcome. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Thanks, Asher. Congrats for the event. Hello, hello. I hope everyone had a great first day yesterday at Catalyst. And we hope, obviously, that you are looking forward to today's session. We know we are. The first part was already, super exciting. I learned something this morning, is that I live in Paris, and apparently we also live on Miami's time, because never show up on time at a dinner in Paris as well. Like, you should never do that. But frankly, it's so exciting to be surrounded by the leading partnership professional in the industry. And we think that we have so much to learn from each other. So for those of you who don't know us, this is Joe, VP Sales and Success at Reveal, and one of the most knowledgeable and passionate partnership leaders in the game.
Hi, everyone. And this is Simon, CEO and founder of Reveal, and a successful entrepreneur, having sold his previous company to SAP. Now, we're with you today to talk about the next chapter of partnerships. It's an incredibly exciting time for us. It really feels like this is our moment. Our space is attracting so much talent, funding, and this event really shows how strong the community is. But maybe the title of our session should be changed. Maybe it's not just about partnerships. We really believe that something bigger is happening, and we have an opportunity to be a part of, but also lead this change, as we've talked about today.
So what about writing the next chapter of go-to-market instead of just partnership, right? Sounds kind of cool. We strongly believe that ecosystems and partnership are the next evolution of go-to-market. And frankly, it was not obvious for me just a couple of years ago. So it might surprise you a little bit, but back in 2019, when we were thinking about our next startup, our goal was not to build a partner tech company. Like, not at all. We just wanted to build a product that had the potential and could impact how B2B companies go to market and win. So the question we asked ourselves was, is there a different way to improve key revenue metrics at scale? And if I'm honest, once again, partnership weren't really kind of on my mind. But very quickly, this topic of business-to-business collaboration, this topic of ecosystem emerged in our conversation with a lot of friends and people we've been lucky to meet over time. And what we discovered was that partner ecosystem were a considerably underserved area of the business, but had also huge potential from a go-to-market efficiency standpoint. Largest deals, usually partners are involved. Your best AEs, they work really, really well with the ecosystem and with partners. The best leads, they are, very often partner referral. So it was clear to us there was an opportunity to build something truly special. Our guts and our discussions with a small group of passionate partnership leaders, and I take this opportunity to thank those of you that have helped us along the way, because we've been very, very lucky to meet many of you and many of the people in this room along the way to help us build. It gave us enough conviction to really go all in. What we just needed to understand was how partnership and ecosystem could solve core go-to-market challenges at scale. So it's probably worth sharing with you what we think these go-to-market key challenges are. So the first one is, how do you identify all the companies that are a true good fit for your product, right? Simple question, but kind of hard to answer. The second one is, how do you know who and when to engage with at these companies? The third one is how do you provide your prospects with a great value prop and a great buying experience? And then lastly, how do you retain and delight your customers?
Now, while each product and the market that it serves are very different, the way a go-to-market strategy is created largely stays the same. And it seems really straightforward. The thing is, these principles are really easy to understand, but they're incredibly difficult to actually execute, and most companies don't get them right. Now, a HubSpot study last year shows that 50% of your prospects are not a good fit for what you sell. And another study by Chili Piper shows that only 2.2% of your leads turn into actual sales opportunities. Now, if we look at that another way, that essentially means that more than half of your time as a revenue team is spent with prospects that have zero chance of buying your product. And that also means that 97% of the leads that you generate through your marketing efforts don't generate any sales pipeline, which as a revenue leader is pretty scary. It seems that the idea is let's make a list of 10,000 companies that are a right fit for our product and just focus on them is one of the most complex and close to impossible tasks at hand. So we're trying really hard. There's so much investment, there's so much time, money, energy being invested in this to solve this problem. And there's been so much innovation built to help us.
There are over 10,000 solutions to choose from in the MarTech industry alone. We have created complex organizations with countless new roles, SDRs, AEs, growth managers, demand gen, RevOps. The level of sophistication in our processes is unparalleled. But despite our best efforts, the B2B customer acquisition cost has grown 60% over the past 5 years. And on the marketing side, we are not only fighting an 88% yearly decline in the human attention span, but ads have become increasingly pricey too. So I don't know if you know that, but in 2020, the average CPC in the B2B industry was just over $3. And today in 2022, it's close to $5. So we have more and more sophistication, more and more tools, more and more processes, but they are less and less efficient. So why is that? Well, we are all doing the same thing at the same time to solve the same problem. We are all working in silos. Even when our products don't compete, we address the exact same audiences, and we are basically creating a fierce competition to gain the attention of the same people. And therefore, costs go up and returns do not follow. We are basically playing a zero-sum game. When someone wins, someone else has to lose. So this is how the B2B industry has done business for decades, right? It sounds kind of stupid in 2022. So what do you think, Joe? What do we do about it?
Absolutely. I think it's a time to consider a far greater and smarter way. Every time humanity needs to solve a difficult problem, there's one thing that no other species can do, and that is drive action at scale, and that is drive change. In his book, Sapiens, Yuval Noah Harari describes this superpower that we as humans all have. There are so many species that work incredibly well as a team. They collaborate, they know their roles and responsibilities, and they create results, but they can't drive change. He gives so many different examples across the animal kingdom. So think of bees, for example. The worker bees, the queen bees, they know what their roles and responsibilities are. They know their job. How we created or how they created honey 100 years ago, today, in 100 years' time, is probably largely going to stay the same. They can't create change. The ability for us to group together and not just work as a team, but also to drive change is what he describes as our superpower.
This is the very human and extremely powerful idea of collective intelligence. As Harari puts it, humanity is collective rather than individualistic. Collective intelligence is the ability to share information and collaborate together. It's transforming individual data into collective insights, predictions, and more importantly, actions at scale. It's basically the exact opposite of working in silos. So collective intelligence is our superpower as humans. And we think it's time for companies to use it as well. So let's try to break it down. We often forget that many other companies have the same ideal customer profile. Most of them are not competing with us. Many of them we don't know, right? We think that all these companies are your ecosystem. So this is the best way we found to kind of define ecosystems. Like all the companies sharing your ICP, they constitute your ecosystem. And all these companies, they collect a lot of highly valuable information and signals about your ideal customers. Who are they? Who's the right contact to engage with? What kind of challenges are they facing at the moment? What are the initiatives they are driving internally? So if we take a step back and we remember the go-to-market key challenges we discussed just a moment ago, it feels pretty well aligned, right? We strongly believe that your ecosystem actually has most of the answers you need to inform and optimize your go-to-market strategy. So of course, this precious information is not new, right? It was always there. But up until recently, it was fragmented, it was scattered, and very difficult to access, especially at scale. But these past 2 years, things seem to have changed kind of dramatically. We have entered the era of connected work. This is a term that we found in an article written by the VC firm OpenView. We can also talk about the decade of ecosystem, obviously, but we like this idea of era of connected work. Today, each and every one of you can have access to highly valuable ecosystem data and insights in seconds. If you take the Reveal network alone, about 1 billion CRM records will be shared by the end of 2022. And it's only the beginning, as only the early adopters, only the people in this room have joined these kinds of network. But it's not only about technology, and certainly not about a vendor. It's also about a mindset shift that we are seeing, a shift towards trust and collaboration between companies. We believe this is the biggest revolution happening in go-to-market today, and frankly, it's really amazing to watch and to be part of it. And this process, technology supports trust. Technology helps you trust the source of information and gives you better control over what you share and creates what we call built-in fairness. And the reality is, and will be, the cost of not trusting and not collaborating with your ecosystem is far greater than the risk you take in sharing information with them. So the people in this room are driving the mindset shift I'm talking about. We are all trying to convince our organizations that this is the way to win. But as always in business, it will only work if it really impacts our results and impacts revenue.
And so the question is, how do we drive this kind of impact? So we mentioned earlier that traditional channels like inbound and outbound are becoming increasingly crowded and pricey. So today, we want to introduce a new channel to you. We call that channel NearBound. Companies are becoming more and more interconnected. And that creates a new data layer, one that Simon just referenced is absolutely huge already, with 1 billion shared CRM records in our company alone. NearBound is the use of your ecosystem to create leads and revenue. It is a standalone channel, just as inbound and outbound is, but it doesn't need to follow a different process once the lead is in. We believe this channel to be so much more powerful than any other go-to-market team has ever had access to. And the statistics we all see in this room today in our partner program really, really supports that. The challenge that we have is how do we take this data and create a scalable and automated program around it, creating your NearBound program. Now, the data sets that we can acquire through this program are bigger than any human partnerships team can handle. And nor should we address this data in the same way that we do our strategic partner programs. They are two completely different revenue streams. Your NearBound leads should be harvested via your ecosystem And they should be fed into your company's already existing programs and processes. Meaning we don't need to reinvent the wheel, and let's be honest, we're not going to be able to anyway internally. You're merely supplying your internal funnel with better, higher converting leads. Now, we've got some amazing stats across our network. We see a 41% increase in win rate when you use your NearBound channel, a 43% increase in deal size, and you generate twice the revenue when you very simply sell to the companies that have already purchased another technology in your ecosystem. That's not your strategic partnerships program. It's just selling to a different type of company. And you do all of this in a far more effective and efficient manner. Now, NearBound provides us these leads that are the right fit for your company, but it is also the right time to be selling to them. Now, a really simple example of this is in my previous role at Bouchez. We had some pretty strong signals when a company bought a customer data platform. So a CDP, think of Twilio Segment, who I think is in the room today, and Particle, Telium, incredibly close partners of us. We knew a couple of different things when a company purchased a CDP. We knew it meant that they had shifted their mindset into buying a best-in-class technology stack, because by your very nature, a CDP is stitching together the data across your stack. It meant they weren't afraid of buying modern technology from a company that had only existed for about 5 years. And let's be honest, some legacy companies could never buy technology from a company that young. And it also meant that, well, we knew that you sorted out your data, you sorted out, as we called it, your plumbing, before you purchased your action layer. And we were that action layer as a marketing technology company. And so we knew we were next. So having signals, these incredibly powerful signals, on both the open opportunities that our friends at the CDPs were working on, but also the closed-won deals in real time, was incredibly powerful to us. It gave us that time. When should we be selling into these companies? They often also introduced us to companies that didn't even exist in our CRM. They weren't on our radar.
Yeah, and maybe a couple more examples that we have seen recently that we thought we would share with you to illustrate this concept of NearBound. So over the past couple of years, we have seen these waves of companies and products designed to help companies go remote. And from a go-to-market standpoint, the challenge for these companies is how do you identify a remote-first or remote-friendly company, right? So it's kind of a complicated question to solve. So Ty was just on stage a few minutes ago, and if you take Deal as an example, any company using Deal basically sends a signal that they are remote friendly. So when you collaborate with Ty and when you collaborate with Deal, then you can start exchanging and trading signals to identify all these remote friendly companies. The other example I would give you is we also see more and more companies and products that are designed to serve small businesses, right? And the other challenge you face from a go-to-market standpoint is how do you know when a small business is digital ready, is ready to adopt and deploy technology to solve challenges and to structure certain processes. Well, we've seen all these companies selling to SMBs, connecting with each other, exchanging data, collaborating to be able to identify the digital ready companies. And it's turning into a list of highly qualified leads they can engage with really amazing results from a conversion rate standpoint. So all these examples are very simple. They are still very basic, right? It's just the tip of the iceberg. But they're already really powerful, really valuable, and creating a lot of value for all these organizations that have embraced this idea of NearBound. So we really can't wait to see how ecosystem and NearBound will evolve in the next few years. I talked at the start about not going out to create a partner tech company and not being the typical partnership believer. And I'm kind of ashamed now, but it took me some time. But now I see every day the value it can create and how transformational it's going to be. And I'm, really glad to be part of it.
I have been that person, that partnerships professional who is incredibly, incredibly passionate about partnerships, because I see the value and the opportunity that every single one of us has in this room today. Not just to grow some awesome partnerships teams, but actually to create an entire shift on how we revolutionize the entire way a business goes to market. We finally get our seat at the table. And that's where we come full circle and agree on this. Now, people ask me all the time, why on earth did you leave a company like Bouchez, who IPO'd at the back end of last year for $6 billion, and I had an amazing team and a revenue-driving function, and moved to a relatively unknown European account mapping solution. It wasn't just Simon's sales skills in closing me. It allows me to be at the center and of this absolutely monumental and really highly impactful transition period that every single one of us is living in today. I get to see companies, so many of you in the room today, pushing boundaries and seeing some incredible results already. 1 billion. That is an incredible number, and we've only just got started, and that's just from us. 1 billion shared CRM records by the end of the year. The opportunity we have to start using NearBound in our programs is immense. Start testing, pushing NearBound via your existing funnels, and it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's merely about optimizing it and using our superpower to drive action in scale.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Joe, for doing this with me. It was a great pleasure. We wish you an awesome day at Catalyst. We'll be here all day to have a further conversation. And thanks, Asher and the rest of the PR team for organizing this. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.